Good morning, students. Today we are going to start another new chapter, that is Phylum Platyhelminths. First, we are going to see what are the silent features of this phylum. Body nature. What is the nature of the body of this Platyhelminths? How it looks like? It is unsegmented. Unsegmented means it's very clear. It's not devoid of any segments. Bilaterally symmetrical. Bilateral symmetry. That also is we have learned in the beginning of the semester itself. Bilateral symmetry means if we cut through the central plane, equal halves will be obtained. So, body is unsegmented and bilateral symmetry is there. And also the body is dorso-ventrally flattened. 3 points. Unsegmented, bilateral symmetry and dorso-ventrally flattened. They are triploblastic. Triploblastic means 3 distinct layers. Body wall consists of 3 layers. Outer ectodome, inner endodome and a middle mesodome. So, we can call it as a triploblastic body wall. Then they are all acoelomate. A means absent. Coelom. Coelom is absent. That itself is very clear from that term itself. Acoelomate. That is true coelom is absent. So here the space between the ectoderm and endoderm is filled with a special type of tissue called mesenchyme. 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 It is otherwise called parenchyma. So, ectoderm and endoderm, that space between these two layers is filled with this tissue, mesenchyme tissue. Next point, cephalization. Cephalization means there is a differentiated portion as head is present. So here in this phylum, the anterior end of the body is differentiated into a head. So cephalization is present. So on the very here of this term, that meaning should come in your mind. Cephalization means head formation. So head formation initiated in this phylum. We can we can distinguish the anterior end as its head. We can easily distinguish. That's why we are telling that cephalization is present in this phylum. Then, what about its habit? Some forms are free living, but at the same time, parasitic forms also present. Then, in the case of parasitic forms, the alimentary canal is absent because as it is parasite. Parasite means it is taking food from some other host. So, it doesn't need a alimentary canal. So, in parasitic forms, alimentary canal is totally absent. And in the case of free living forms, a branched alimentary canal is present and it opens by mouth and anus is absent. But anus is absent in the case of this platyhelminths. Mouth is present. Then excretion. How excretion is happening? With the help of Protonephridia and flame cells. I will show you its image. Um, These are the flame cells. It is distributed throughout its body and it consists of these so many flame cells attached with a tubular branched structure, and we are going to understand about the flame cell. Here we are taking the case of one flame cell. Inside the flame cell, certain cilia are present. By the beating of the cilia, the body fluids enters inside the flame cell through the slits. And those fluid that enters inside the flame cells, from that fluids, most of the solutes and nutrients are reabsorbed. And what left there? Only waste. that waste and excess water moves down and reach the main stem. And that main stem that main stem join each other and unitedly it opens outside of the body, and through that opening the waste are eliminated. That's the method of excretion, the help of Protonephridia and the flame cells. Okay, and next mm, okay, then respiratory or circulatory system. There is no well-defined or well-developed respiratory or circulatory system, and that happens through its body wall. Then how it moves? The movement, how it happens? Movement occurs with the help of muscles. So many muscles are present. By the contraction of those muscles. Muscles means it have several layers of muscles are present in its body. A longitudinal layer of muscles are there, circular layer of muscles are there, and oblique. Oblique means slanting, chariഞ്ഞ്, that in that way of arranged muscles also there in its body wall. And because of their contraction, that organism is moving. And in some organisms that comes under this phylum, they move by the beating of cilia. So that's about its movement. The nervous system also I will show you an image. This is about its nervous system. Two long nerve cord we can see here. Two long nerve cord is there, extend throughout the length of the body, and they branch where? Branch to form a network. This is about the nervous system. And ocelli is another feature. Ocelli means is a light sensitive organ. What is ocelli? The light sensitive organ also present in his body, in his head. That is ocelli. It senses the light. Then in addition to this ocelli, other sense organs also present. They are chemoreceptors that sense presence of chemicals. Then balance receptors called statocyst also there. And rheoreceptors also present. Rheoreceptors that sense the water movement. All these are the receptors found in this phylum. Then that about sense organs. Then their reproduction happen both sexually and asexually. Sexually means maybe most probably by budding. Around 20,000 species have identified so far. So next we are going to see the classification. Phylum Platyhelminths is classified into three classes, which are the Turbellaria, Trematoda and Cestoda. Turbellaria, Trematoda and Cestoda. Once more, Turbellaria, Trematoda and Cestoda. So we are going in this chapter, we are going to learn about each one with its examples and its reproduction. After learning all these things, we finish this chapter. Okay. Then class Turbellaria. First point, what about its habitat? It is benthic, means it is it's not free-swimming, and it's marine. Even if marine forms are there, freshwater forms also there, and they are also found in tropical and terrestrial habitats. So it is somewhat found in almost all type of habitats. In that way, we can say. And it's found in the order Temnocephalida. And these organisms are entirely commensals. Commensals means what? Commensals means it is a type of association between two organisms in which one is benefited and other one is neither benefited nor harmed. That is commensalism. Okay. One benefited and another is neutral, not benefited or not harm. So all these organisms are commensals. Then there's next is about their epidermis. Epidermis is with cilia, ciliated epidermis. And also there is one more another feature. At the just below the epidermis, rhabdites are present. Rhabdites, Rhabdites, rhabdites. What are rhabdites? Rhabdites are certain rod-like secretory products. Rod-like secretory products. And what is its significance? It gives distastefulness to its predator. So, it is a preventive measure, preventive behavior of this organism from its predators, from its enemies. And also, these rhabdites, by secreting a mucus, it helps its locomotion also. Two functions for rhabdites. Next is about the general locomotion of the organism. It happens by the coordinated movement of cilia over the mucus secreted by rhabdites. And some species at the same time can swim by the rhythmic muscle contractions. Then what about its food? They generally feed on invertebrates smaller than themselves. They feed on other invertebrates that are smaller than themselves. And other feeding forms also there. They are herbivores. Some are ectoparasite. Ectoparasites means they live as parasite outside the body of the host. And some are scavengers. All these forms are present. Then there, regarding the alimentary canal is with mouth, but anus is absent. Regarding the alimentary canal also, some difference is there in different forms. In Aceola, Aceola, alimentary canal is absent. In Rhabdozelia, their alimentary canal is in the form of sac. And in another form, Tricladida, the alimentary canal is trifid. 3 branches are present. So that's about the alimentary canal. Then next is about its excretion, how the excretion is happening with the help of Protonephridia. Protonephridia, I already shown you Protonephridia. Then acoelomates, they are all acoelomates. Acoelomates means it doesn't have any coelom, true coelom. Sense organs, which are the sense organs? Sense organs, I think a picture is here. Sense organs are important sense organ is statosis. Its image is shown here. And in addition to statosis, some chemoreceptors are there, as well as photoreceptors that sensing the light. Chemoreceptors means sensing the presence of chemicals. Statosis for balancing. Okay. Then reproduction, sexual, mainly reproduction is by sexual means, and also by fission, asexual reproduction also observed in this class. And regeneration, capacity, they also have the capacity for regeneration. And also they are hermaphrodites, another important point. Hermaphrodites means what? Hermaphrodites means both the sexual forms, or both male and female gonads are present in the same. So they are hermaphrodites, and almost 3000 species have identified so far under this class. Examples are Planaria, Bipalium, Planoceria, and Convoluta. I'll show you the more images of all these things. Planaria is this one. Bipalium is very common. I think most of you have seen it near your courtyard. It is usually found in wet surfaces, worm-like. We can distinguish it from other worms with the presence of this hood-like anterior region. And then Planaria. Planaria is the example that we need to study under this class as its example. Planaria is this one. Okay, convolutus picture I didn't put here. So we are going to study about its example, that is Planaria. Planaria, regarding its habitat, it is marine, usually found in marine habitat. And regarding the body, certain explanations are there. Body, we can see that it is dorso-ventrally flattened and very delicate body. And it is oval, almost oval in shape. And the margin is highly ruffled, ruffled. And in the anterior end, the body, two tentacles called, it's not clear in this image. Anyway, you need to understand. I think that image is clear in your textbook. A pair of slender nuchal tentacle, Nuchal, nuchal tentacles are present. And that tentacles that present here is retractile, means it is able to retract into shallow pits that present here. And these tentacles are actually simple foldings of the anterior margin of its body. And that tentacles show some undulating, this undulating type movement also. Okay, then lengthwise, adult grow up to 35 millimeter in length and 20 millimeter in width. Then regarding the color, next point, it's a dorsal surface is pale yellow with a brown reticulations. Reticulation means net-like lines are there. Brown reticulations are there. And the gut, regarding the gut, it is highly branched gut is present in this case of this organism. And that branched gut ends up in marginal dark spots. Dark spots are present at the end of the branches of the alimentary canal. Then eyes are seen as two groups, and that also is not clear in this picture, but in your textbook, in that picture is very clear. Which are the two groups of eyes? Cerebral eyes is there and tentacular groups of eyes is there. Cerebral eyes, where it is seen as two clusters between the tentacles. Seen as two clusters between the tentacles. And that tentacular groups, where it is seen as ring at the base of each tentacle. At the base of each tentacle. That's about which class we learned first. Planaria, that comes under Turbillaria. Next class is Trematoda. First we need to understand about its general features. First point is regarding its habit. They are parasitic. Parasitic means entirely they are parasitic. The other one that we learned just now, it is usually commensal. All if you are parasitic. But Trematoda, they are parasitic. And one another important feature they have is the presence of a tegument. What is tegument? I will show you the image. This is the tegument. What is tegument? It is the outer covering of its body. What is the peculiarity? It is an epidermal arrangement. The tegument consists of an outer syncytial layer. Syncytial layer means there is no differentiation as individual cells. Instead of that, it is a condition with there's no distinction as individual cells. Instead of that, all the internal organelles, like internal cell organelles are scattered. Maybe it is mitochondria. All the organelles are scattered as it exists as a single cell, but actually it is a group of cell without demarcating cell walls. So that condition is called the syncytial condition. So the tegument consists of an outer syncytial layer and inner cellular layer. Here we can clearly see that individual cells separate itself. We can see here. This is the second layer, inner layer, where the main cell bodies are formed. Then we need to understand what is the function of this tegument. For remembering that function, we need to understand. We keep in our mind a simple code, that is GAP, GAPE. G for gaseous exchange, A for absorption, P for protection, and E for excretion. That way we can clearly keep in our memory what are the functions of tegument. GAP. Okay. It's about tegument. Tegument is an important feature. Yeah, its body has an outer protective layer called tegument. Maybe because of the presence of this tegument, this parasite is escaped from the digestive action of various enzymes present in its host body. Okay. Then also they have suckers and hooks. Suckers and hooks. They have suckers and also have hooks for attachment, better attachment. And their alimentary canal, regarding the alimentary canal, it is well developed and with two main branches are there for the intestine, and but anus is absent. Then excretion. What about the excretion? Excretory organ is Protonephridia. Then reproduction. How the reproduction is usually sexual, and most of the organisms are hermaphrodite. Then regarding the life cycle, it is very complex with the larval stages. Many larval stages are present, and they are parasiting one or more host species. 12,000 species are described, identified so far under this class. Okay. Then Trematoda is again classified into two taxa. Which are the taxa? Monogenia and digenia. In the name itself, it means what it actually. Monogenia means, mono means one. I mean, the organisms that comes under monogenia have only single host. Digenia means two. Di means two. So the organisms comes under digenia have two or more hosts. And the monogenias are ectoparasites of cold-blooded vertebrates. But digenias are endoparasites in vertebrates and invertebrates. Then examples also we need to understand. Monogenia example is diplozone. Then gyrodactyl is polystoma, etc. All these names are there in your textbook. Then the example for digenia is fasciola, schizostoma, or pistorizis. All are the examples. Next, going to see the example of Trematoda. The example that we need to learn is fasciola. What's the common name? Fasciola's picture is shown here. Its common name is liver fluke. Fasciola's common name is liver fluke. And regarding its habitat and habit, it is parasite. It is a parasite of sheep and cattle. And common species name is Fasciola hepatica. It is found in the gut of sheep. And adult flukes usually found in the vertebrate host, and also One stage of his life history is seen in gastropods. That means in snails, usually limnae, that's freshwater snails. One stage of its life, one stage in its life cycle, they are found in the body of snails. So snails are a carrier of these worms. And regarding its appearance, how it appears, the body is very soft. Body is very soft, leaf-like, bilateral symmetry is there, dorso-ventrally flattened, and the size varies from 1 millimeter to 2.5 centimeter. 1 millimeter to 2.5 centimeter. And the anterior end of the body has a conical projection that we can see here. And that conical projection is called head lobe. What is the name? Head lobe. And at the tip of the head lobe is a mouth. We can see that mouth, red color. Mouth is there, and that mouth is surrounded by oral sucker. That sucker as greenish also we can very clearly see here. That oral sucker, it is otherwise called anterior sucker. And on the other side, there is another sucker, but it's showing here itself. I need to understand that it is present on the other side. There is a ventral sucker. Ventral sucker is present. It is otherwise called acetabulum. Ventral sucker is otherwise called acetabulum. Also present. And it is bigger in size than the anterior sucker. And between the two suckers and close to the posterior sucker is the genital pore or gonopore is present. Then the exterior excretory aperture also they present, and it is present at the tip of the body. Okay. Next, regarding next point, it also has a tegument. Tegument means it is the outer body covering, protective in function. Then regarding the digestive system, this consists of mouth, pharynx, and a bifurcated. Bifurcated means two branches are there. Such type of intestine is also present. Then excretion with the help of flame cells. Then we are going to see its reproduction. Reproduction, adults are hermaphrodite, but it prefers always to have a cross fertilization to keep the heterogeneity. To avoid homogeneity, it always prefers cross fertilization. And the fertilized egg leaves the body of the host through its fecal matter and reaches the soil. And in the soil, when it gets exposed to sunlight, it hatches out as a free-swimming larva, ciliated larva called Miracidium. What is the name? All the names you need to keep in memory without get mixed up with the larvae of other type of organism. Here the name is Miracidia. Miracidia. Okay. The Miracidium. Then the larvae, what happens? It penetrates into the body of snail. It penetrates the body of snail. Then after entering the body of snail, what happens to this Miracidium larvae? Once inside the snail's body, the Miracidium metamorphoses into a sac-like sporocyst. Actually, it is present inside the snail. For better visualization, it is drawn outside. So, that Miracidium metamorphoses into next stage. What's the name? It is the sporocyst. And this sporocyst Inside the sporocyst, we can see so many embryos, and this sporocyst is without any gut. Okay, and the each embryo that present inside the sporocyst, that each embryo can again develop into another type of sporocyst. Its image also shown here. What's the name of another type of sporocyst? Radia. That radia has a mouth and gut, and inside that radia also several embryos are present. So these sporocyst and radia are polyembryonic. Okay. Then from that embryos that present inside the radia, what is forming? Cercaria, another form of larva called cercaria is formed, and that cercaria's image also shown here. It also present inside the body of snail. Cercaria has a gut present, the suckers are present, and also has a snail. And after reaching this form, the cercaria is leaving the body of the snail, and it attaches with some grass. It is actually a grass, attaches with the green leaves, and it become encysted, is covered with by a protective covering to form another stage, that is metacercaria. What is it? Metacercaria. When a sheep happens to feed, or a cattle happen to feed, the leaves attached by this metacercaria, that metacercaria enters into its gut. Then the metacercaria escape from that cyst and migrate to the bile gut of that host and grows into an adult. Since the life cycle includes two hosts, and at least two infective stages are there, so fasciola is termed as a digenetic trematode. I think it's very clear to you. Okay. Then polyembryony. Polyembryony we see in its life cycle in two stages, in radia form and sporocyst form, polyembryony. So polyembryony means it's having many embryos inside. Then adaptation. What is the adaptive value of that polyembryonic feature? For maintaining sufficient number of parasites. It can support, it can sustain its population without depleting, without get depleted. Okay. Then pathogenicity. What disease it causing? So it's very easy to memorize the disease. Only thing that we need to add a assis along with the name of the worm. So here the disease is the worm is fasciola. So the disease is fasciolasis. Fascioliasis, fasciolasis. And if it affects liver and causes inflammation to the bile duct, then the bile duct becomes calcified, become hard, and develop gallstones, and the results hemorrhage, means bleeding in the liver, and that liver gets seriously affected. So that she become very dull, sluggish, very weak, and swellings are appears, pain in the abdomen, weight loss are happening, and finally it ends up in the death of the sheep. What preventive measures we can take? Avoid grazing where the banks of ponds and streams during drought. During that time, cercaria emerge out from the snail, that we should avoid. And also only option is to sacrificing the infected sheep. No other option to get rid of that worm. And another thing, and to kill, we need to wipe away all the snail population, and allow the ducks to forage into the paddy fields to prey on the snails. This is another measure. And also we should properly wash all the vegetables before cooking. It's about the trematoda, and the example also we have learned. Then we are going to see the last class, that is Cestoda. First we are going to see which are the general features of the class Cestoda. Cestoda, they are commonly called flatworms, and all the cestodas are endoparasite. And its body, what about its body, how it appears? Its body appears like ribbon-like, and so they are called tapeworm. As it is ribbon-like, is called tapeworm. And its body is divisible into three parts: scolex, neck, and strobila. Scolex, neck, and strobila. All this image I will show you later. And the body, similar to other classes, here also the body is protected by the tegument. And the scolex have suckers and hooks. That image also I will show you later. And the cestos are endoparasite, so they didn't possess any digestive system or sense organs, and they are all hermaphrodites. Almost all the organisms that under the platyhelminths are hermaphrodites. So platyhelminths are all hermaphrodites. Then its life cycle is very complex with a definite host. Definite host is there, and that which is always a vertebrate, and there is chance for having many intermediate hosts. So far, 5,000 species have identified under this class. Common examples are Taenia solium, Taenia saginata, Echinococcus, etc. So we are going to see its example. That is Taenia solium. Okay, Taenia solium, its common name that we already just heard. That is, it is called a tapeworm. Along with that, one more attachment is there, pork tapeworm. So its common name is pork tapeworm. Regarding its habitat, it is a parasite in the intestine of man, and is a sexually reproducing adult. And asexual forms are also there. Its forms are mainly found in the muscles of pig. So here, man is the definite host. Pig is the intermediate host. So without man, it cannot exist. So man is the definite host. Pig is the intermediate host. It has a cosmopolitan distribution. Cosmopolitan distribution means what? It is found almost everywhere. Then we are going to see the features. Taenia solium by this is the appearance. It has a tape-like appearance, right? Body is segmented, elongated, ribbon-like, dorso-ventrally flattened. What terms I have told you just now? Body segmented, elongated, ribbon-like, dorso-ventrally flattened. And its length, it also almost up to 5 meters. 5 meters is their length. Opaque. Opaque means not transparent, white in color, and its body is divisible into 3 regions. Scolex, I will show scolex is this one. Scolex is this one. Scolex enlarged picture is shown here. Scolex. Then neck portion is there, and strobila. All these part is called strobila. And the scolex, it resembles a pinhead, and its length is 0.6 to 1 millimeter in diameter. At the apex of the scolex is a dome-shaped rostellum. It is armed with 28 to 32 curved hooks arranged in two circlets. And then around the sides of the scolex, 4 large suckers also there. 3 we can see here. One is on the other side. And the suckers are, these large suckers are devoid of hooks. Then rostella hooks and the suckers helps access hold fast organs that helps the tapeworm to firmly attach to the intestinal mucosa of the host. Often that this scolex head portion remains buried in the mucosal wall of the intestine of the host. The neck is the very constricted region behind the scolex, and this flattened region is the site, is the starting point of proliferations, growth. And from that region, new segments are budding off. The strobila forms the bulk of the body, and it consists of a chain of about 800 to 1000 segments. So they called proglottids. Segments are called proglottids. Then proglottids, if you observe these proglottids, you can easily understand that the size of the proglottids increases as it moves to the posterior end. And since the neck is the area of segmentation, youngest proglottids are seen near to the neck region. Okay, and the matured one are seen towards the terminal end. Okay, then middle proglottids. Middle proglottids, what's the specialty? They are mature and it contain male and female reproductive organs. The mature proglottids, they alternately bear on its right and left margin a tiny protuberance. I will show you that. Protuberance. A small protuberance we can see. It's a genital papilla. It has a genital pore also there at its tip. And that posterior most proglottid, the proglottids that seen in the posterior most end are called gravid proglottid. This is a gravid proglottid, and it is broader than longer. It is more broader, and it contains the uterus that containing eggs, the body wall or tegument, and also tegument is there present in these worms also, and it's protective in function, and that outer plasma membrane of the tegument. It is thrown into certain microvilli with certain dense spiny tips. That spiny tips are called microtricks. And below that, that cilia, that microvilli layer, present the syncytial cytoplasm that I already told you. It contains that syncytial region contain numerous mitochondria, then rhabdiform organelles. Rhabdiform organelles also I have explained to you. There are certain secretions that secreting mucus and it causes distastefulness. All these organelles are seen in the syncytial area of the tegument. Then the cell bodies that seen deep in the body wall, means the next layer of the tegument, as an inner layer, that also present here also. Up to here I am talking you about the tegument. Once more I am explaining, tegument is present in this worm also. It's protective in function. Out externally some microvilli are present for this tegument. They are called the microtricks, and below that syncytial layer is there, and below the syncytial layer, inner to there, present the cellular layer. Then next I am going to tell you about the muscles. Circular and longitudinal muscles are present between the outer and the inner layers of the body wall. And since this parasite do not have a gut, it doesn't have a gut. The tegumen acts as absorptive surface. That we already learned that. What the function of tegumen? I told you. I told you a chord gap. In that gap, A is there. That A stands for absorption. So here, as the organism doesn't have gut, the tegumen acts as absorptive surface. Okay. Then we are going to see about its excretion. Excretion this happening with the help of flame cells. And this flame cells itself have four longitudinal collecting canals distributed throughout the body. The four longitudinal canals means two are dorsal and two are ventral. The two ventral canals, they meet together at the tip of the body and open by a pore. It's as an excretory pore. Then nervous system. The nervous system consists of an anterior nerve mass is there here. Nerve mass is there. Then two lateral and a longitudinal nerve cord also present. This is about the nervous system. Then we are going to see about its fertilization. So unit is very important for your examination. From all these phylums, any of the life cycle is a sure question. So you should, while each teacher is teaching you about each these worms, organisms, you have to by heart the life cycle at the same day itself. Otherwise, you get confused over with the life cycle of one with the other one, and the name of one larvae get into the life cycle of another one. So to by heart in the same day itself. Okay, it's very important. Then fertilization. It's fertilization also. Cross fertilization is most preferred, but self fertilization also happening. Self fertilization, since the gravid proglottid contain both the gonads, male and female gonads, so there stands for self fertilization also there. And that fertilized egg develops into an oncosphere larvae. This is the oncosphere. When sperm and egg, wherever diffusion happens, fertilization happens. That result of that fertilization, a larvae is forming, is called oncosphere larvae, engrossing a hexacanth embryo. What is inside this larvae? A hexacanth. Hexa means 6. Hexacanth embryo is there. It has 6 hooks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is the hexacanth embryo. And it's covered by that many layered protective layers is there. What are these names? What are the names of that layers that covers the hexacanth embryo? Embryonic membrane is there. Then an embryophore is there and an outer hard shell. So which are the layers? Embryophore is there, and next embryonic membrane is there, and an outer externally there is a hard shell is there. And they are seen in the, and this oncosphere larvae carrying the hexacanth embryo is bagged inside where? Inside the gravid proglottids, in the uterus of the gravid proglottids. Okay, where it is packed inside the uterus of the gravid proglottids. Gravid proglottids means mature proglottids. And so that these segments these gravid proglottids are devoid of any other types of internal organelles. The terminal gravid proglottids that carry in this oncosphere larvae with the hexacanth embryo, what happens to is it detach in groups of 4 or 5 and pass out of the body of the host along with his fecal matter. Okay, then what happens? Further development of the oncosphere do not occur until they enter the body of intermediate host, that is the pig. This happens when an infected person defecates in an open ground and a pig happen to ingest that oncosphere larva containing fecal matter. And on reaching the intestine of the pig, the hexacanth embryo are released from the oncosphere larva. And that penetrate the gut wall of the pig and reaches its bloodstream and settle down in its muscles. In the muscles, the embryo get encysts and give rise to another form called the bladder worm or cystocircus. Bladder worm or cystocircus. I will show you its image. This is the bladder worm called the cystocircus, where it is forming in the muscle of the pig. It is a saccular fluid-filled stage with a small invaginated scolex. The pork that is infected with the bladder worm, it appears spotted. Spots are present. So that pork is called a measly pork. What's the name? How it is known? It is called measly pork. Further development of the parasite does not take place until it reaches the body of its definite host again. So whenever a person happen to eat imperfectly cooked pork, if he consume, then that highly resistant bladder worm enters the gut of that person that eat that improperly cooked pig meat. Then what happens? That scolex everted out and attaches his gut wall and start to bud of two new proglottids and become a new worm. That is the cycle. Okay. Next, we are going to see the infection. Tinea tapeworm. It's an infection. Disease is called teniasis. As it is called tinea solium. Then symptoms are diarrhea and weight loss. Then in serious condition, there is chance for that oncosphere to reinfect the human itself again. Because instead of passing out from his body, there is chance for the oncosphere to reinfect that first host itself. That is more serious. The encystment of that worm mainly happens in muscles, heart, liver, eyes and brain. Removal is very difficult and the disease is very fatal. How can we prevent? By the sanitary disposal of human fecal matter and proper cooking of pork. And also by the use of appropriate anthelmintics. Anthelmintics means a certain drug that can eliminate the worms out of our body. Okay, with this finish with this chapter. Thank you.